Imagine a Spanish World Cup squad, like a national team that has historically relied almost exclusively on that towering Barcelona and Real Madrid duopoly.
Right, yeah. The classic two-club foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But imagine them heading into a FIFA World Cup with 0 Real Madrid players on the roster. Like none. 0.
It's wild.
It is. So welcome to our deep dive on the highly explosive, completely redefined 2026 Spanish national team.
Honestly, it really is a cultural earthquake. When you look at the lineage of Spanish football, from Fernando Hierro to Iker Casillas or, Sergio Ramos.
Oh, absolutely.
That Real Madrid influence has just always been a foundational pillar. So to see a national squad completely devoid of it, well, I mean, it speaks volumes about a massive underlying shift in how this team is being built right now.
So how does the Spanish team even function without that historic backbone? Because looking at this massive stack of sources we've gathered for this deep dive, I mean, we've got tactical compendiums, historical data, injury reports, the betting odds.
Oh, there's a mountain of data here.
Yeah, and we are looking at the heavy favorites to win the entire 2026 World Cup in North America.
Yeah, they really are.
So our mission for you today, listening at home, is to unpack exactly how manager Luis de la Fuente has engineered this. We want you to be like the smartest person in the room during your World Cup watch party.
Yeah, you're going to want to take notes on this one.
For sure. But to start, we kind of have to talk about identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we all remember the horizontal possession dogma of the 2010 Xavi and Iniesta era.
The golden generation, yeah.
Right, that slow, methodical, tiki-taka approach. But that's gone, isn't it?
Oh, it has been completely dismantled. I mean, totally stripped down. And to appreciate what De La Fuente is doing, you really only have to look at their historical monikers.
Like the nicknames.
Yeah, nicknames. So a century ago, the team was actually dubbed La Furia Española, right? The Spanish Fury.
Okay.
And that was rooted in this very aggressive, combative, almost military physical power. I think it dates back to the sack of Antwerp or something like that.
Wow, okay. That's intense.
It is. But then we got the 2008 to 2012 golden era, which everyone knows is La Roja.
Right.
And that was pure aesthetic control. I mean, Tiki-Taka won them 2 Euros and a World Cup.
Yeah, they were untouchable for a while.
They were. But over the last decade, it kind of devolved, It turned into horizontal passing just for the sake of passing.
Right, just keeping the ball without actually doing anything with it.
Exactly. It became rigid. It lacked teeth. And De La Fuente, well, he recognized that the global game had adapted.
Right.
Modern athletic defenses, they aren't going to just fall asleep because you pass the ball side to side 40 times in front of them. You actually have to force the mistake now.
Which kind of brings us to the actual geometry of what they're doing on the pitch right now, because on paper, it says they play a standard 4-3-3 formation.
Yeah.
But that's incredibly deceptive, isn't it? Because once they actually get the ball, that shape just completely morphs.
Completely, yeah. The 4-3-3 is really just their starting defensive block. In possession, Spain transitions into this 3-2-5 or even a hyper-aggressive 2-3-5.
Wait, a 2-3-5? That sounds like something from the 1920s.
I know, right? But it works. You have the 2 center backs staying deep, perhaps a single pivot holding midfielder like Rodri sitting just ahead of them.
Right.
And then literally everyone else pushes up. Both fullbacks bomb forward. The central midfielders push into these advanced pockets of space. And the wingers, this is key, they stay incredibly wide.
Okay, so let's talk about the underlying philosophy driving this really aggressive shape.
Yeah.
Because our sources keep pointing to this specific phrase, the attract to isolate principle.
Yeah. That's De La Fuente's mantra.
So how exactly does a 19-year-old center back like Pau Cubarsí actually execute this in a real match scenario?
Okay, let's visualize it for a second.
Sure.
Picture Cubarsí receiving the ball on the edge of his own penalty area, right?
Got it.
In the old tiki-taka system, he would immediately play a safe, 5-yard pass to his fullback just to keep the possession ticking.
Just keeping the ball moving.
Right. But under De La Fuente's attract to isolate system, Cubarsí literally puts his foot on the ball. He just waits.
He just stops.
He stops. He is actively daring the opposition forward to step up and press him.
So he's basically using the ball as bait.
Precisely. Because the moment that opposition forward commits and sprints toward Cubarsí, a pocket of space suddenly opens up exactly where that forward just was.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And once that trap is sprung, Kubarsi utilizes his elite passing range to just rifle a vertical pass straight through the lines.
Right into the midfield.
Exactly. Into the midfield, bypassing the press entirely. They're using possession not as this, defensive shield to rest on the ball, but as a deliberate provocation.
A provocation, yeah. To create chaos.
Right, to create chaos and rip open those vertical passing lanes.
Wow. So, I mean, if the old tiki-taka was like a python, slowly squeezing the life out of a team until they suffocated.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
This new style feels much more like a cobra. Like you lure the threat in, and then you just strike with this sudden, venomous vertical speed.
Absolutely.
But let me ask the obvious question here. Taking those kinds of risks at the back, right? Inviting international caliber forwards to press your teenage center back.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
It does. Does the data actually back up this level of risk?
Oh, the results are honestly terrifying for the rest of this world. Coming into North America, they are on an active, unbeaten streak of over 30 competitive matches in normal time.
30 matches? That's insane.
It is. And if we look at their UEFA Group E qualifying campaign, they took 16 out of a possible 18 points.
Wow.
But it's the goal difference that is truly staggering. They scored 21 goals and conceded only 2.
Only 2 goals.
Yeah.
And that includes that 6-0 thrashing of Turkey, right? Away from home.
Exactly. I mean, those numbers reflect a team that has just found a ruthless equilibrium between technical control and vertical finishing.
Right.
They still dominate the ball. I mean, they actually hold a record of outpossessing their opponents in over 130 consecutive games.
That is absurd.
But the intent is entirely different now.
Okay, so if they are drawing the defense forward into the center of the pitch to spring this trap we talked about,
yeah,
that naturally means they're vacating massive amounts of space on the edges of the field.
Exactly.
So is that why their wingers have become the absolute focal point of this new system?
That is the crucial connection, yeah. By condensing the play centrally and inviting that press, you create vast empty prairies out on the touchline.
Right, just totally open space.
And this is where Spain's greatest contemporary weapon really comes into play. Elite one-on-one isolation.
Okay, break that down for us.
So De La Fuente positions these incredibly explosive wingers players who stay glued to the sideline to stretch the pitch to its absolute maximum width.
And from a tactical standpoint, why is a 1v1 winger considered such a cheat code in modern football, especially when you're facing smaller nations that just pack the defense?
Well, think about what a low block actually looks like.
Right.
Smaller teams playing against Spain, they'll often put 10 men behind the ball, heavily concentrated inside their own penalty box.
Right. Parking the bus.
Exactly. The distance between their defenders is virtually 0. So in those scenarios, you can't thread a delicate pass through the center.
Because there's just a wall of legs.
There are simply too many legs in the way, yeah.
Yeah.
You need a player out wide who receives the ball, isolates a defender in a foot race, and just physically bypasses them.
Because the moment that winger beats their man and breaks toward the goal line,
yes,
the entire defensive structure basically has to panic and collapse inward to stop the cross, right?
That's the domino effect. The winger collapses the structure, chaos ensues in the penalty area, and Spain's late-arriving midfielders just capitalize on all that confusion. But, and this is important, to sustain this constant pressure, they rely heavily on their midfield control, specifically their counter-pressing.
Yeah, we hear that term rest defense thrown around constantly in these tactical reports.
Right.
Can you kind of demystify what that actually means in the context of Spain's counterpress? Because from my reading, it seems like their defense actually starts the exact second they lose the ball.
That's spot on. Rest defense is simply the structure a team maintains behind the ball while they are on the attack.
Okay.
Because Spain pushes into that aggressive 2-3-5 shape, they have this dense, highly concentrated cluster of players surrounding the opponent's penalty area.
Right.
So the second Spain loses possession, they don't retreat.
They just swarm.
They instantly swarm the player who just won the ball. Yeah, suffocating all the immediate passing options.
So they're essentially trying to win the ball back before the opponent even realizes they have it.
Correct. It prevents the opponent from launching a counterattack, and it often leads to Spain recovering the ball really high up the pitch while the opponent is completely out of position.
Which obviously leads to high-quality scoring chances.
Exactly.
And when you're playing that high up the pitch, you really need a goalkeeper who operates almost like a third center back.
Yeah, a sweeper keeper.
Right. Let's look at the depth chart there because, honestly, it's an embarrassment of riches.
It really is.
You've got Unai Simon from Athletic Club, who's been dependable for years. You've got David Raya, who has been phenomenal for Arsenal in the Premier League.
Absolutely elite.
But the sources are particularly focused on the meteoric rise of Barcelona's Joan Garcia. What makes a 25-year-old goalkeeper so vital to this specific system?
It's his sweeping ability and his pure shot-stopping dominance. I mean, Garcia's trajectory over the last 2 years is just remarkable.
He won gold at the Paris Olympics, right?
He won gold at the 2024 Olympics, moved to Barcelona in 2025, and completely took over. In the 2025-2026 La Liga season, he won the Zamora Trophy. He conceded a staggering 21 goals in 30 games.
21 and 30. That's an average of like 0.7 goals a game.
Yeah. And he secured the La Liga Save of the Year, too.
Incredible.
But beyond the metrics, the Spanish coaching staff heavily values his psychological profile.
How so?
Well, a World Cup camp lasts 50 days.
Right, you're all stuck together.
Exactly. Having a goalkeeper who is adaptable, who is confident coming out of his box to sweep up those long balls, and who maintains harmony within the squad, that is just as critical as his reflexes.
Let me push back on this impenetrable aura for a second, though.
Okay, fair enough.
Because if both fullbacks, let's say Chelsea's Marc Cucurella on the left, right, and Bayer Leverkusen's Alejandro Grimaldo on the right.
Right.
If they are both pushing incredibly high up the pitch to support these wingers, who is left at the back? Yeah. Aren't they leaving center backs like Aymeric Laporte and Pau Cubarsí completely exposed to a counterattack?
You've hit on the Achilles heel. Oh, yeah. It is an absolute high-wire act. The entire system is predicated on that counterpress functioning perfectly.
Okay, so it's like pulling a rubber band as far as it can possibly stretch, right?
Yeah.
When the counterpress works, the rubber band snaps back and you hit the opponent instantly. But if a midfielder's legs give out, or someone just slips and misses a tackle,
the rubber band snaps.
Exactly. The rubber band snaps, and the opponent has a totally unobstructed path to your goal.
That is the perfect analogy. And that massive gaping space behind Laporte and Cubarsí, that is the exact target for any smart opponent.
Right.
If the initial counterpress is bypassed, the opponent can just launch an early vertical ball over the top.
Yeah.
And now, instead of a tactical football match, it becomes a pure foot race covering 40 yards of open grass.
Oh, man.
And that is a terrifying prospect for a 32-year-old Laporte.
Which makes the physical toll of this system the biggest existential threat to Spain's chances, doesn't it?
Without a doubt.
Because the physiological burnout mentioned in the injury reports we have, it's really alarming. They are demanding their players sprint, press, and recover relentlessly.
The demands are brutal, and unfortunately, we're already seeing the consequences. Key players are literally rushing to be fit for the tournament.
Yeah, like Nico Williams.
Right. Nico Williams, who is one of their most explosive wingers, he's been battling pubalgia.
Can you explain pubalgia to us? Because it sounds incredibly painful, especially for a player whose entire game is based on explosive acceleration.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's essentially a chronic sports hernia.
Ouch.
Yeah. Think about the biomechanics of a modern winger. Williams is routinely sprinting at like 30 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
Stopping dead and violently torquing his pelvis to change direction and beat a defender.
Just to create that isolation.
Exactly. The sheer shearing force on the abdominal and groin muscles, it creates this chronic inflammation. And you can't just tape it up. It fundamentally compromises a player's ability to explode off the mark.
And it's not just him, is it?
No, unfortunately not. Fabian Ruiz has had knee issues. Mika Marino has a foot problem.
And Fermin Lopez is completely ruled out of the tournament with a fractured foot.
Exactly. It's a real crisis.
But, I mean, the name that has the entire nation holding its breath is Lamine Yamal. The workload placed on this kid is genuinely concerning.
It is unprecedented. I mean, Yamal logged nearly 200 senior appearances before turning 19.
200?
Yeah. That is an insane volume of high-intensity minutes for a teenager whose musculoskeletal system is, frankly, still developing.
Right, he's still growing.
He is, and it led to a very late-season hamstring scare that absolutely terrified the Barcelona medical staff.
I bet.
So De La Fuente, he has to manage his minutes meticulously, but that's incredibly difficult when Yamal is your primary attacking outlet.
And compounding these physical vulnerabilities is a glaring structural one, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because they are crossing the ball into the box constantly with these wingers, but they completely lack a traditional physical number 9 to finish them.
Correct. They arrive with Mikel Oyarzabal, who, to be fair, is in breathtaking form.
Right.
I mean, he scored 11 goals in his last 10 appearances before the tournament, and obviously she scored the winner in the Euro 2024 final.
Yeah, he's been clutch.
He is clinical, his movement is incredibly intelligent, but he is not a classic bruising target man.
He's not going to, like, back into a massive center back, pin him, and win a header in a crowded box.
No. And when you're facing a deep low block and the opponent successfully double teams your wingers out wide, you sometimes really need a plan B.
You need a battering
You
ram.
need a physical focal point, yeah. Someone who can dominate the penalty area in the air and create space through sheer physical intimidation.
But Spain doesn't really have that.
Spain simply doesn't naturally produce that world-class target man anymore. They do have Borja Iglesias as a bench option for physicality, but the primary system relies on fluid movement, not aerial domination.
Right.
So if the intricate passing gets stifled, their lack of a battering ram becomes very apparent.
Okay, so we have the blueprint now. We see the lethal speed on the wings, we see the high wire act at the back, and we see the medical red flags everywhere.
Yeah.
But to actually execute this, De La Fuente has assembled this fascinating 26-man roster. And one of the reports highlights how this group forms a quote-unquote perfect ecosystem.
It really is an ecosystem.
Let's break that down for the listener, because it's not just 26 random talented guys thrown together. There's a very specific alchemy here between the Barcelona Youth Corps and the players playing in the Basque region or the English Premier League.
This is what makes De La Fuente's squad selection so brilliant. He has basically fused two completely contrasting footballing cultures.
Okay, how so?
Well, on one hand, you have the Barcelona core, Pedri, Cubarsí, Yamal.
Sure. Right.
They bring an inherent club chemistry. They have this almost telepathic understanding of spatial geometry, possession, intricate passing combinations. They form the brain of the team.
But the brain needs muscle to actually execute this new vertical style we've been talking about.
Exactly. And that's where the Basque and Premier League influence comes in. Players from Athletic Club, Real Sociedad, or teams like Manchester City and Arsenal, they are accustomed to a much higher physical intensity.
Right, the aggressive pressing.
Aggressive pressing, direct vertical transitions. By blending the Barcelona intellect with the Premier League physical directness, De La Fuente has created an ecosystem that can dominate the ball but also win street fights.
I love that. Dominate the ball but win a street fight. So let's talk about the crown jewel of that Barcelona intellect, Lamine Yamal.
Oh, yes.
At 18 years old, the betting markets actually have him at 161 odds to be the tournament's top assister.
Which is wild for a teenager.
It is. That just shows the immense volume of offensive creation expected from him.
He is the poster boy for this new generation. His elite close control allows him to navigate tight spaces effortlessly.
Right.
He has the vision of a seasoned playmaker, but it's his ability to cut inside onto his left foot and deliver these clinical whipping crosses. That's what makes him the embodiment of that 1v1 cheat code.
Because defenders know exactly what he wants to do, but they just can't stop it.
His execution is so rapid, they cannot stop it.
But balancing out that teenage flair is the 2024 Ballon d'Or winner, Manchester City's Rodri.
The anchor.
Yeah. I want to throw a hypothetical at you here.
Go for it.
We talk endlessly about Yamal's magic, but if Rodri goes down with an injury in the group stage, doesn't this entire tactical house of cards just collapse? Like, who is actually the most irreplaceable player on this roster?
It is definitively Rodri, without a shadow of a doubt.
Really? More than Yamal?
Absolutely. Yamal provides the spark, but Rodri is the concrete foundation. As the single pivot holding midfielder, his defensive screening and elite distribution allow the rest of the team to function.
Okay.
He reads the game better than anyone on the planet. He intercepts counterattacks before they even materialize.
Because he's so secure in front of the defense, that's what actually allows the fullbacks to bomb forward, right?
Exactly.
If Rodri isn't there, the safety net is gone, and the rubber band we talked about just disintegrates.
Exactly. The aggressive high press becomes a massive liability without his positional awareness to clean up those transitions. Spain's performance levels drop noticeably when he is unavailable.
I can imagine.
The entire structural integrity of the team is compromised without him.
Wow. And alongside him in midfield is Pedri, who is finally fully fit.
Yes, thankfully.
The reports emphasize his role in orchestrating the half spaces. Let's map out the pitch for a second for the listener.
Good idea.
If you divide the field into 5 vertical lanes, right, You've got the two wide lanes hugging the touch lines, the dead center lane, and then the two channels in between them.
Right.
Those in-between channels are the half spaces, right? Why is Pedri so deadly there?
Well, the half spaces are notoriously difficult to defend because they sit right in the seams of traditional defensive formations.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
Basically, a center back doesn't want to get pulled out that wide, and a fullback doesn't want to get pulled that far inside.
So it's like a no man's land for the defense.
Exactly. And Pedri has unparalleled spatial awareness. He drifts into these exact seams, receives the ball on the half turn, and instantly connects the defense to the attack.
Wow.
He is the lubricant that makes the whole attract-to-isolate machine run smoothly.
And behind him, you have another Barcelona prodigy, Pau Cubarsí. We talked about his role in inviting the press earlier, but to do that at 19 years old, it requires an absurd level of psychological composure.
It really does. His partnership with the veteran Aymeric Laporte is the perfect blend of youthful audacity and experienced game reading.
Right.
Cubarsí isn't just passing out of the back, he is executing these line-breaking, progressive passes under immense physical pressure from opposing strikers.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But beyond the superstars, there are some rising talents the listeners really need to watch out for.
Oh, definitely.
Like Alex Baena. He just secured a massive 45 million euro transfer to Atletico Madrid. He provides elite playmaking from the left side.
Right, he's electric.
And Marc Pugel, also at Atletico, he's a powerful, fast right back with immense defensive duel success. But the story that really stands out to me in the data is Victor Munoz.
Well, Munoz is a fantastic narrative. Snatched up by Osasuna from Real Madrid Castilla for just 5 million euros.
A steal.
An absolute steal. The 22-year-old is a blur on the pitch. I mean, he even scored on his senior international debut in March 2026.
So when the starters are dealing with that physiological burnout we discussed, where around the 70th minute, Munoz is the guy you unleash.
Precisely.
Yeah.
He provides pure, unadulterated verticality and just a relentless work rate against tired opposing legs.
Wow.
He is the ultimate impact substitute for this specific system.
Which kind of brings us to the actual gauntlet, doesn't it? Group H.
Group H, here we go.
Now that we understand the tactical machine, the physical vulnerabilities, the ecosystem of players, how do they actually match up against the team standing in their way? The geographical setup is pretty interesting, too. They play their first two matches in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium before traveling down to Guadalajara, Mexico for the final group game.
Yeah, no trips to Canada in this phase.
Right. So logistically, how does that look?
Logistically, it's highly favorable. Minimizing air travel across time zones in the early stages of a 50-day tournament is crucial for managing that physical fatigue we keep circling back to.
Okay, so match 1 is June 15th against Cape Verde. And this is an unprecedented matchup. They've never met.
Yep, never.
Cape Verde is making their World Cup debut. They're an island nation of just over 500,000 people.
It's an amazing story.
It is. But how does Spain approach breaking down a team that is entirely built on a disciplined low block and the counterattacking pace of their veteran Ryan Mendes?
It requires immense patience and relentless ball circulation. Cape Verde will sit incredibly deep, keeping the distances between their defenders to an absolute minimum.
Making that wall of legs.
Exactly. They will challenge Spain to play through them. So Spain will use their fullbacks to stretch the pitch, dragging Cape Verde's defense from side to side until a gap finally opens up for Yamal or Williams to exploit in a 1v1.
And what's the danger for Cape Verde there?
The danger for them is maintaining that intense mental concentration for 90 minutes.
Right.
Once the fatigue sets in, the structure cracks.
Yeah. And the analytical models are actually projecting Spain to hold over 70% possession and secure a comfortable 4-0 win.
I'd agree with that.
So assuming they execute that, match 2 is against Saudi Arabia on June 21st, again in Atlanta. And Spain has a very dominant history here, right?
Very dominant.
A 1-0 win in 2006, a 5-0 thrashing in 2012, and a brutal 7-0 dismantling in the 2022 World Cup. Yeah. Given that history, does De La Fuente start looking ahead and heavily rotating his squad?
He absolutely must. Saudi Arabia will present another low block, but Spain's sheer technical superiority should secure qualification with a game to spare.
Okay.
This is where workload management becomes paramount. Yamal, Rodri, and Pedri, they cannot play 90 minutes in this game.
Right, they need to rest.
If Spain goes up 2 goals early, De La Fuente has to pull his stars off the pitch. He needs to use the depth of players like Dani Olmo, Alex Baena, or Victor Munoz to close out the game.
Because match 3 is the monster lurking at the end of the group.
Oh, yes, it is.
June 26th in Guadalajara. Yeah, Spain versus Uruguay.
What a match.
We're talking about two former world champions clashing. This Uruguay team is managed by the legendary tactician Marcelo Bielsa.
El Loco himself.
Yeah. Break down the specific tactical nightmare that Bielsa's system presents to Spain's attract-to-isolate philosophy.
It is the ultimate clash of ideologies. Bielsa employs this ruthless, high-octane, man-to-man pressing system.
Okay, so not zonal.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. Instead of defending zones on the pitch, Bielsa assigns a man. It's a straitjacket. So when Spain's center backs try to put their foot on the ball to quote-unquote attract the press, Bielsa's players don't just get attracted, they hunt the man relentlessly.
Oh, no.
They don't give Spain the time to orchestrate those neat vertical passing lanes.
And when Uruguay wins the ball back, they are built for hyper-violent physical transitions, right?
Yes.
Because they feature Darwin Núñez in attack.
Yeah.
He is the exact type of chaotic, rapid, physical forward who can exploit those massive spaces behind Spain's high defensive line.
Absolutely. Núñez thrives in chaos and open space. If Spain's rubber band counterpress fails even once against Uruguay's intensity, Núñez will be in a foot race with Laporte.
Now, that's not good.
That is a matchup Uruguay wins every time. This game will perfectly stress test Spain's vulnerability to rapid counterattacks.
The predictions point to a grueling 1-1 draw. Listeners, if you were planning a watch party, you need to underline June 26th.
Circle it twice.
Yeah. It's not just a group stage formality. It is a tactical war. It's the litmus test that will show us if Spain can handle elite physical pressure without their structural integrity just completely collapsing.
Exactly. And even if both teams have mathematically qualified by that point, the psychological stakes are massive.
Right.
The winner likely talks the group, which secures a much more favorable path in the round of 32. But more importantly, Spain needs to prove to themselves and the rest of the tournament that their new vertical style can actually withstand the most intense physical scrutiny.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together for you listening at home. If you want to sound like an expert at the pub, here's the bottom line. The 2026 Spanish squad is a modernized, vertically explosive machine.
Right.
They have shed the slow, suffocating python of the old tiki-taka era, and they've evolved into this venomous cobra that uses possession as bait to strike rapidly down the wings. They are heavily favored at 61 odds because they boast an unmatched midfield foundation in Rodri and the most terrifying 1v1 teenage talent on the planet in Lamine Yamal.
It's an incredible setup, but, and you have to remember this, the margins for error are razor thin.
Yeah.
Their high-wire tactical shape leaves them incredibly vulnerable to counterattacks. And the physiological burnout of their key players, I mean, it threatens to snap the team's structure in half.
It's a real risk.
De La Fuente's ability to manage their legs against Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia will dictate their readiness for the physical warfare against Uruguay.
But, there is one final chilling piece of context lurking in the historical data that we haven't even touched on yet.
Yeah. The elephant in the room.
Yeah. For all their 30-game unbeaten streaks, for all their tactical renaissance, this national team carries a massive, dark, psychological hurdle.
They do.
They have a history of completely freezing in the knockout rounds when the pressure maxes out against deeply entrenched teams.
Yeah, it's rough.
Look at the recent record. Eliminated on penalties by Russia in the 2018 World Cup. Knocked out on penalties by Italy in the Euro 2020 semifinals and in the 2022 World Cup. Dumped out by Morocco in the round of 16, again on penalties.
It is the ultimate test of nerve. You can have the best 1v1 wingers, the most sophisticated attract-to-isolate geometry, and the deepest midfield rotation.
Right.
But when the game is locked at 0-0 or 1-1 after 120 minutes of exhausting football, tactics kind of just go out the window.
It's all mental at that point.
It becomes entirely about psychological resilience and the weight of history.
So when the group stage ends, the safety nets are removed, and that sudden death pressure kicks in. Does this new, aggressive Furia Roja finally break the penalty shootout curse?
That's the million-dollar question.
Does the Cobra still have the stamina to strike when the game goes to extra time? Or will the immense physical burnout cause these teenage stars to finally look their age? Keep your eyes locked on the round of 16.